Hi guys, Tony here from Caveman Pops, coming to you from the kitchen again. Just like a bit of change now and then, but I'm also suffering slightly from a sore throat and a bit of a cold, so just bear with me as we go through this video. The subject I'd like to talk to you today is on modding or modifications. This is something that's quite used in the prop industry now. It basically started more from the cosplay community. It's also known as Nerf modding. They would take a Nerf gun or a toy gun and give it a new paint job and add bits to it, either making it steampunk or whatever, and try and create something for their costumes out of that. It then got used in replica props. People would use bits as a basis, so half the job was done, they just give it a repaint and add bits to it to try and make it look like the prop that they were after. This became quite successful that even prop makers in the industry started using it. So if they were on a slight tight budget, they would go to the local toy store, buy a toy gun, and then add modifications to that, just to, half their job was then done. They would then add, a new paint job, add bits to it, and what they'd made for their TV program or film was done. This became quite handy for replica prop makers because they would discover this, and then half their job was done as well, and they could recreate extra props from that. It's also then used because a lot of toy companies get in on the act, and they'll make toy versions of the prop, and sometimes these are actually so detailed they were actually almost virtually identical. And obviously the one I want to talk to you today about is the Kylo Ren Lightsaber. Before the film came out, the original prop was put on display. Lots of pictures were taken of it. It was also discovered that the original prop was 3D printed, which then everyone went out and started trying to do their own 3D prints and try and recreate it. But then, stroke of luck, a toy company went out and produced their own one. This one is virtually identical. There's a few little differences between this and the original prop. But obviously, being that this is a plastic toy, but if the original one was 3D printed, that was plastic as well. So basically, it was more down to the paint job. So that's basically what they're looking for on this. So the toy is a little bit different around this section and here, and obviously has these bits. But this is almost virtually identical to the original prop. Basically, all it's going to be is the paint job. So basically that's what we're going to do with the modding. We're going to take this, we're going to strip it back, hopefully remove these bits, and then try and give it a new paint job and make it look more like the original prop. So that's basically what we're going to do, and we're going to try and run through that with you step by step and show you what the modding is. Right, now come into the workshop for the rest of this, and basically with a massive big pair of pliers and a bit of brute force I managed to remove the terrible plastic blades out of that, so we're now just left with the hilt, and this is what we're now going to work on. Now to start this, we're going to remove the stickers off the side, but we need to give this a tiny little bit of sanding down, and for that we're going to use one of these sanding sponge, basically sandpaper wrapped around a sponge, and pick these up from DIY centres. I believe these are also available in Poundland. You can get a nice set of them from Poundland. We're basically just going to give it a gentle rubbing over, and it's just going to take off that little bit of shine, and then we're going to hit it with some primer, and that's just going to help bond to that. So we're just going to rub this down all over, just take off that little bit of sheen, and then we're going to start the paint job. So I'm going to crack on with that, remove the stickers, and we'll come back. Right, so I'm going to have to make a little bit of backtracking here, because as you can see this has already been primed up. What I've done is, from the last section that you've just seen, I did 2 steps, recorded them, and then when I look back I realised that they hadn't actually recorded, so we've kind of jumped forward a little bit. So from when I last left you, I was sanding this down with the sanding sponge. I actually decided to use a slightly smaller sanding sponge. This was a little bit finer, a little bit softer, meant I could get in there a little bit better. So we sanded this all down just to take the plastic sheen off. I then also paid attention on the back here. I took a slightly rougher bit of sandpaper, and here was where we had the copyright and the safety marks and serial number. They were all on this section. Of course, they're all just raised plastic, so a bit of coarser sandpaper. I've just managed to sand them back down, then used the sanding sponge just to smooth it all off, and then primed it. So we're now at this state. Also, there were a couple of holes in the bottom here as part of the toy, so I've blocked them in plastic. There's one there on either side, and then plugged in the end. This is actually the lid from a cola bottle, fitted in there quite nicely, so that kind of sealed that bit in. Once that was all done, I put this cable through the top here so I could suspend it, and then basically sprayed it with a grey primer, so that's all nice and grey and ready to be properly painted. Now I'm going to go through and tell you what I'm going to do with the painting. The plan is, you obviously might think that I'll be spraying it black and then adding detailing onto it. I'm actually going to spray it a metallic silver, so I'm going to get it looking like it's metal, and then I'm going to add the black to it. It's going to make this bit a little bit easier, and I can add the black to it in a weathered effect, because looking at the pictures of the original prop when it was put on display, it kind of has that look about it that it's supposed to be silver underneath. So rather than trying to spray it black and then add silver bits and weathering to it, I'm going to just make it silver and then add my weathering and then start adding black. And then what that means is, even on the toy, this end bit was still silver, so I can keep that bit silver and then try and work in a little bit of extra colouring in on the edge here, and kind of give it more of like an exhaust sort of feel to it, so some slightly browns and yellows in there, so it kind of looks like it's heated metal. It's burnt a little bit around there from the I don't know, what would you call them, the laser blade bits that will stick out the side here, so we can add a bit of heat and detailing in around there. So that's the plan. So I'm just going to play this. I've got a nice plastic coat, mirrored silver, so I'm going to use that rather than just a normal metallic silver that I've used before. So I'm going to make it nice, shiny, sort of almost what's the more chrome silver, and then we'll start adding the detail to that. So I'm going to get this sprayed up now, and then we'll have to leave it another day and a bit to dry, and then we can add some more detail into it. Right, here we go. Right, I've sprayed that up with the silver, left it a good day to dry, so this is now completely dry. I'm ready to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the black acrylic again, and basically I'm going to add that to this in the wet solution as if we're just weathering it to begin with, and then we're going to start layering up on top of that slowly. So that's where we're going to go with this. I'm going to use the black acrylic. Got my nice cloth ready for drying it down. I've got the bottom here of a large coffee tin. I just needed a tube, so I cut the tube off for something else, but I kept this, always comes in handy. Got my water, got some brushes. My cold's still getting a bit worse, so bear with me people if my voice is a bit funny. So we're just going to let this down. That. Acrylic. I'm not going to go with a large brush. I'm going to use a small, more finer brush. So we're going to plenty of water. It's going to be quite a watery mix. I'm going to sort of add some of that in and around the area, and we want to try to get a little bit in the detailing in there. Stab it in a little bit. This is where our cloth then comes in. You want to start cleaning that up. So I know it doesn't look like we're adding much in the way to it at the moment, but we'll slowly get there with that section. And we also want to do that around these bits. I've kept this cable on it because it's going to just make life a little bit easier for me when I leave it to dry. I can just hang it back up. Yeah, so So we're basically just dirtying it up at the moment. So I'm going to carry that on. Kind of see the effect that we're kind of going for on these detailings. So we're going to do that. I'm going to do that on the rest of this and the sections down here, and then we'll come back. Right, so there we go. That's the slight effect we're going for. It's just ever so slightly dirty. You may wonder what's the point in doing the silver and adding this to it. It's just kind of the way that we do it. Just to add the effect rather than going for a slightly duller silver. We would rather go with metallic silver than dull it, because then you can get some bits that aren't quite so dull on there. So that's what we're doing. So this has all been brushed down. I'm now going to work with a clean brush and a little bit of the burnt sienna, and take this very tiny little bit, and we're going to be working around this section. So we're going to be adding little bits around the exhaust. So we're going to try and blend this all in. Use our cloth again. It's starting to get a bit. I think we'll start ever so slightly. So we want to clean it slightly more up on the edges than we do further down. So I'm kind of going for that, and then we just want to layer it up bit by bit. I've got another one that's slightly dark as well. Add that one in. Hopefully sort of try and add some of that exhaust work in. Okie dokie, right, I've hit that with a slightly darker brown on the very edge, and we've brushed out and then used the cloth just to clean the edges up. So it's all kind of just like a work in progress. Hopefully that's kind of got that little burn, rusting kind of effect on the ends here, and it kind of works outwards, because then we'll add black in here, and that should just add to that effect on there. So we've done that front and back. Blending in a little bit actually. So blend that in a little bit more. So there we go. So that's kind of the effect we're going for on that section. Now the rest is to be adding more black, and then we'll add the finer detailings in on it. These bits are going to stay silver. The rest of it's going to be black. So we're going to go back to our black paint again. This time with no water. We're just going to be applying black acrylic, and we'll just work that one in. That will add to our effect there. Just a little bit more gentle than that. So we're going to do that around the rest of the body. Give that to dry. It might take a couple of coats, so it might take a couple of days to finish that. And then hopefully we'll be slightly more ready to add the final colours. Okay, so I applied it with some more black, and slightly thicker. Probably going to need another coat over this section. The other side needs doing as well, so I'm going to hang that up over the other side of the workshop, paint the other side of it black, let it dry, come back tomorrow, add a second coat of black, and then start the blending in here. And then once that's all dry, I can start repainting this cable in the red. There's a blue cable in there, and there's some gold bits that need adding as well. So that's pretty much the look we're going for. So we're going to leave this, let it dry, another coat, and then we can start adding the finer details. But hopefully that's kind of getting more to the look that we're after for this prop. Right, here we go guys. Need to do a bit of backtracking again, because I'm getting a little bit impatient and not checking whether the video is actually recording when I'm doing a bit. So I need to start paying slightly more attention. Right, we coated this all in black. So obviously doing that after we'd done all the weathering bits and detailing, and then basically what I did was I just took a rough dishcloth sponge and you rubbed it over the areas where you would get wear and tear, and the paint just starts to come away and it gives that little bit of wear effect. So we're just going to do that all the way around the bottom bit. As you can see, the paint just ever slightly comes off, kind of adds that effect of wear and tear, which is what we're looking for. So I'm going to do a little bit more of that. I've sort of done it round here. I'm just trying to make it look like the pictures of the original one that was seen, so I'm just adding a little bit of wear and tears. I've recut the little clips for the cable here. I've gone over them, so to expose them up a little bit, because obviously there'll be raised bits. I'm then going to get some red enamel paint. I'm going to repaint the cable in nice and gently. Repaint the blue cable in there. I'm in two minds on this bit, because the toy version, and other people have said this bit is an ever so slightly gold, but looking at the pictures I can't see whether it's gold or not. So I've just cleaned that up. I think what I'm thinking is I'm going to paint it gold, but I'm going to leave the screw bit silver. So it's going to be gold and silver. So we're going to do that bit in. So that's our next step of what we're going to be doing, to add the final colourings. And then once all that's done, we're just going to spray it with a clear lacquer just to seal it all in, and then hopefully that will all be ready. Right, okay, so I've done a bit of that detailing in with the enamel paints there. I'm going to need to give it a couple of coats, let it dry, and then coat it again, because what it is, a little bit of a cheapskate. You can buy little pots of enamel paint for brushing on. I don't have any of them. What I've got is a load of little cups like this, and I just spray a bit of my enamel paints and plastic coat paints from the spray cans, spray them into the pot, and then use that. And as a result, that is kind of a little bit more thinner than the pots you would buy. So I brush it on, give it a couple of coats. The red here's had a couple of coats already. Blue and the gold have only kind of had one, so I'm going to add little extra coats onto that, but I'm going to let it dry first and then do it. And hopefully that'll be the detail in that. And then it can be hung back up, sprayed with a little lacquer just to seal everything in, and hopefully then everything will be ready. Alright then guys, I've done this up. It's been sprayed with the clear coat lacquer just to seal it all in. I'll hold that in. Hopefully you all agree that looks a little bit better. It looks like a proper screen used prop. It's a little bit closer. I'm going to hold it there. I'm going to try and compare that to how it looked originally, just so you can see the differences. Obviously when you look at some of the toys there are noticeable differences. So I think I noticed before that this was been pulled out a little bit, and so at this it's supposed to sit a bit deeper in. I think the only reason they changed that on the toy is because it's supposed to have the plastic blade that ran through the middle, and it probably made it easier to pull out the plastic moulding. And that's the only reason, because the original screen used one of this, the Kylo Ren one, was 3D printed, so probably when the toy company got it, they were given the original 3D printed files, and they've just modified it to fit what they wanted. So there we are, so that's all done. I think for the price that this probably cost was a lot better than going through the whole rigmarole of getting your own 3D printed version done. I mean, I picked the toy up from the supermarket for £10. Probably the cost of materials that I've physically used on this probably was no more than £2.50 to £5. So there we go. That's the costing on that one. I think I quite enjoyed that. It's like the first tutorial I've done on the toy mod. I have been told that instead of using the black paint that I used, you can actually use a black shoe polish, liquid shoe polish, and that kind of adds the same effect and keeps it more looking a little bit metal. So maybe I'll have another go at doing another one and trying that. but as the lightsaber toys go, this was like the closest to the screen used one, which is why I did this. The other ones are there are some quite noticeable differences compared to that, so I probably wouldn't do another lightsaber one, but there we go. So that's that one done. Obviously we hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It's a little bit different to what we normally do. I've got lots more stuff coming up to hopefully show you soon. Some big projects, some little bits and pieces that I'll hopefully get out for you really soon. But if you want, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also contact us on our Facebook page. There's much more content goes out on that because I put pictures and stuff of other little projects that I'm working on. And you can also contact me on the email address as well. So if you've had a go at trying this as well, I'd love to see that, see what you've come up with, how your version looks compared to mine. And any other projects you've done, you've watched one of my videos and it's inspired you, you've either followed the same patterning or it's inspired you to do something a bit different, I'd love to see that as well. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to bringing you the next tutorial very soon.